Hello, my friends. It is a beautiful Wednesday, and I thought that I would read a story to you because I know it's been a while. So, I was thinking about a good story to read about springtime, and we need to not have it snow anymore because I keep looking outside and it's snowing and it's still so cold. And so I thought this would be a perfect story today. Wake up, it's spring. We want warm weather. Okay, and we talked about author. Author is who wrote this story, and it's Lisa Campbell Ernest. Okay, so let's dive into this book together. And as I read it, see if you can keep in mind what animals are in order of this story. I know we did that with Brown Bear, what do you see in the beginning of the year? And we always went back and thought about what was the first animal, the second animal, the third animal. So this book is almost like that. So after the book, we're going to talk about sequencing, we're going to talk about characters, and we're going to talk about plot. Plot is like sequencing the events in the story. And setting. I know we're going to talk more about setting of a story next week, but I know we've talked about it in class before, and that's where the story takes place. Okay? So I'm super excited to read this with you. The winter was long and cold. It sure was. You can tell it's winter because if you look at the trees, they are bare. No leaves on them. The winter was long and cold. Then early one morning, the sun rose and warmed the earth. "Wake up, old friend, it's spring," whispered the sun. Now, we've talked about fiction and nonfiction before, or make believe and real. And does the sun really talk to us? No. And the warm earth woke up. The earth basked in the sun's glow, then nudged its guest, the earthworm. "Time to wake up, spring is here." And the earthworm woke up. The worm wiggled in the warm earth and sang to its neighbor, the seed. "Spring is here, rise and shine." And the seed woke up. And of course it said neighbor because we find these worms down in the ground. And usually they come out when it's really raining outside. And its neighbor is the seed because remember, as we talked about the plant life cycle, the seed has to be in the soil or dirt. So that's why the seed is its neighbor. So the seed sprouted and grew out of the earth. Just looks like this. Remember, seed and then germination occurred. And we have seen a lot of that in the beans that I showed you all yesterday from my kitchen window. A lot of those beans have already split open a little bit. And you can definitely see where germinating occurs. So, and it's super cool. And here you can see the roots at the bottom. Remember, roots grow downward. And then you can see the stem and some leaves. So the ladybug woke up. The ladybug laughed in the sunshine. It tickled the rabbit's ear as it whispered, "Psst, rabbit, spring is here." And the rabbit woke up. You could tell it's spring because the grass is green again. Not see any snow on the ground. The rabbit twitched his nose to smell the spring air, which if you ever are outside and you take a couple minutes and breathe in the nice fresh air, I always love the smell of spring. I sometimes can smell flowers or even the trees I can smell. So all the different smells springtime brings. So next time you're outside, think about that. So he thumped to the bird up in her nest. Out of bed, sleepyhead, it's spring. And the bird woke up. The bird soared from above and flew past the sleeping cat. Wake up, furry friend, the bird chirped. Spring is here. And the cat woke up. I love how all these animals are being so friendly with each other and waking them all up so none of them miss spring. I love that. They're just being so kind to each other. The cat stretched her legs and rubbed past the sleeping dog. Time to get up, she yawned. It's spring. And the dog woke up. Now, I have to take a look at this cat because right when I saw this cat, I know Jalen, our friend Jalen, got a brand new cat and his name is Oliver. And the color of this cat reminds me of Oliver. Thought that was pretty neat. And we've talked about making connections in a story. So as I'm reading this, I'm trying to make connections with the cat and the seeds because we've learned about the plant life cycle. So think if you can do that as you read. The dog frisked and jumped and barked into the baby's room. Wake up, it's spring, cheered the dog. Now, I was always told never to wake a sleeping baby. Because usually if I ever woke up one of my girls, they would cry and be so grumpy. So think about this. Is the baby going to be happy? Or do you think the baby is going to cry and whine because he was woken up? Let's see. And the baby woke up. The baby looks so peaceful and nice. The baby stood up in her crib with a laugh and shouted to her brother and sister, "Ow, ow, spring!" And the brother and sister woke up. And who do you think they're going to wake up next? Think about this. The baby woke up the brother and sister. And now, who do you think they're going to wake up? So they picked up the baby and ran to their parents' room, jumped on the bed, and shouted, "Wake up! Open your eyes! Spring is here! Spring is here at last." So who do you think they woke up? The father and the mother. Good job. And the parents woke up one eye at a time. This is how I wake up sometimes when my kids come into my room and try to wake me up because they're excited. It takes me a while to wake up. And they all ran to dance together in the sun. The parents and the brother and sister and the baby and the dog and the cat and the bird and the rabbit and the ladybug and the seed and the worm and all the earth. The end. Oh, because it was spring. And you could tell it's spring because remember in wintertime we usually have to really bundle up with maybe a winter hat or a jacket, a big jacket or snow pants. But in spring, you don't have to wear all that, just maybe a long sleeve shirt or pants, light pants. He looks so happy. So I hope you love this story. So let's talk about some things. So setting is something we're going to talk about next week in skills, but I know we've talked about setting before in a story. And setting is just, where does it take place? Where does the story take place? So think about this story. Like, did it take place in a grocery store? Did it take place at their friend's house? No. Did it take place in the woods? So it took place outside, right? With all the animals outside. Okay. And what about plot? Plot is like the sequence of events, big events in the story. So if we talk about sequencing, I always think of when we made that big book of Brown Bear, What Do You See? And I remember as a class figuring out what the first animal was in the story, what the second animal was, what the third animal was in the story, and we always put them in order. So in this story, if we think about it, who was the first animal? Let's see. So Earth happened first, right? Springtime had to happen first, but then the Earth woke up the worm first. Earthworm first. Now think about this. Who did the earthworm wake up next? Remember who the neighbor is in an earthworm? Because they're both in the soil. The seed. And remember, if you have a story in front of you or some sentences in front of you and you forgot what happened in the story, it's okay to go back in the story and reread some sentences, because we always want to take our time. Because being a good reader doesn't mean you can just read the words, but it's understanding what you are reading. Okay, so make sure you use this if it's in front of you. As you can see, I have to use it and go back into the story. So think about this. Who did the seed wake up? I'll give you a little hint. It's red and black with spotted black spots. A ladybug. Good job. And who did the ladybug wake up? Starts with an R. Let's see, a rabbit. You were doing awesome with these sequencing. And who did the rabbit wake up? The bird, right? And who did the bird wake up? Even I have to think about this. The bird. Let's see, did the bird wake up the cat? Ooh, the bird woke up the cat. And who did the cat wake up? The dog. Remember that? And who did the dog wake up? The baby. And then the baby woke up her brothers and sisters. And then lastly, the brothers and sisters and baby woke up their parents. And then it was springtime. They all celebrated springtime. You guys did an awesome job with sequencing. I love it. So today, if you read a story to yourself or to someone else, or even your pet, See if you can think about sequencing after the story or the characters. Remember, the characters could be a creature, it could be a person, an animal, anything or anyone that thinks, moves, feels, talks. So there was a lot of characters in this story. All the animals were characters. They talked, they moved. So all of these animals, rabbit, bird, cat, dog, earthworm, all of those were characters. So if you have time today, read a good book and see afterwards if you can come up with the characters in the story and the plot and sequencing of events in the story. And if you would like to send a video to me, or if you want to read it all on your own and you want to go over the characters and the plot and sequencing, you let me know and we will definitely do it together today. So I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday. And remember, I'm always here for you. If you ever want to Google me, talk, chat. Okay? I love and I miss you, and always be kind. Bye, my friends.